Hi everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Shaquana and I am a community health educator with the Center for Community Alternatives.
Hi all, and I'm Olivia. I'm also a community health educator with CCA.
Some of you may remember us from before when we used to go to ReStart so that we could conduct workshops about sex and sexuality. Well, now, due to the school closures, we're going to be making videos for you all and teaching you all in this way.
So, over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be sending you 2 video lessons and 2 shorter, fun activity lessons also. We'll be teaching and learning about topics about sexuality and gender.
We're so excited to start learning with you all in this new way. We hope you're excited too. And so we just want to jump right into it. So today we'll be diving into our first topic, which is gender and sex, where we'll cover gender identity, biological sex, and some other related terms.
So, today you can expect to learn the difference between gender and sex, understand the spectrums of gender and biological sex, and create your own genderbread person.
Every person should receive a worksheet packet, and you'll use this to follow along with this workshop and the next workshops that come up. At the end of your workbook, you'll find a section called the question box. And the way this works is that you'll write down any questions you have about this workshop or any topics or terms that are discussed during this workshop or any upcoming workshops. Then, if you would like your questions answered by us, you'll submit that last page with all of your questions written down to the coordinator in the room with you, and then we'll try to answer your questions in the next video so that you'll have all those good answers, okay?
Okay, so let's get started. Please flip to the first page in your packet.
We're going to start off by defining some key terms that we'll use throughout the remainder of this lesson. Some of you may already know these terms, and so this may be a refresher. If not, you'll definitely feel more comfortable with these terms by the end of the workshop.
We're going to discuss what a lot of people refer to as the spectrum of gender and sexuality. We also want to give everyone a heads up that we will be using scientific terms to describe male and female genitalia, but not everyone describes their body parts with these same terms.
What you see in front of you on that first page of your workbook is the genderbread person. We're going to use this person to talk more about the differences between gender identity, gender expression, biological sex, and romantic/sexual attraction.
So if we look at the genderbread person, at the top of their body is their brain, and connected to that is their gender identity.
Inside of their body is their heart, and connected to that is their attraction for other people or no people.
At the lower portion of their body is their genitals or private parts, and connected to that is the sex they were assigned at birth.
And then connected to their whole body is their gender expression. We're going to take a deeper look at these key terms. Let's start with gender identity. Gender identity is a person's internal sense of identity as male, female, both, or neither, regardless of their sex assigned at birth.
Next, let's look at gender expression. Gender expression is how a person presents their gender. This can include their appearance, their name, their pronouns, and their social behaviors.
Now let's look at biological sex. Biological sex is categories, male, female, to which people are typically assigned at birth based on physical characteristics, for example, their genitalia or their private parts. Some people may be assigned intersex when their reproductive, sexual, or genetic biology does not fit the traditional definitions of male or female.
Let's move on to the last 2 definitions, sexual and romantic attraction. Sexual attraction is who you may want to have sex or sexual conduct with based on your sexual feelings for them,
while romantic attraction is who you may like based off of your emotional feelings for them. Now that we've discussed the basics of the genderbread person and what makes up gender identity, gender expression, biological sex, and sexual/romantic attraction, let's quickly review these terms.
If you turn to page 4 in your workbooks, you'll see a few questions. Take a moment to think about each question and write down your answer to it. We're going to give you 1 minute to think, and you can write down your responses in the worksheet.
So, what did you come up with? Let's go over the questions together. Can you tell a person's gender identity by looking at them? No, right? Because their gender identity comes from how they see themselves inside. That's not something that's on the outside, it's on something that's on the inside, as you can see in a genderbread person. So, what can you see when you look at a person?
If you wrote gender expression, you're absolutely correct. That means their clothes, their appearance. These are things that we see when we first meet someone, right?
Now, can you tell a person's sexual orientation or attraction by looking at them? Nope. Because the only physical thing you can see is a person's gender expression, not who they are romantically attracted to or not attracted to.
All right, this is the last question. Does someone's gender or biological sex determine their sexual orientation? That's a no, and that's because those are separate factors that don't rely on one another.
We hope you found this activity entertaining, and we wanted you to think about the many factors that go into the differences between gender identity, gender expression, and sexual romantic attraction and biological sex.
Awesome, everybody. Thanks so much. What a great job. Now that we've discussed the different components of the genderbread person, we want you to create your own genderbread person. So turn to page 3 of your workbook.
Considering what you now know about the parts that make up a genderbread person, for example, gender identity, gender expression, biological sex, and sexual and romantic attraction, take a few minutes to design your own genderbread person.
So there's 2 options for this activity. First, you can fill in your genderbread person to resemble yourself. So write out what your own gender identity, your gender expression, biological sex, sexual and romantic attraction are based on you. You can also draw clothes, hair, and accessories on your genderbread person to make them more personalized to reflect you and how you see yourself.
Or you can design a genderbread person for someone you know, someone you imagine, or someone you've seen on TV, in music, or in magazines.
So we're going to give you a few minutes to complete this and work on your genderbread person.
So, how was that? Now you all have a real life idea of what these terms mean to you and how you see yourself. Feel free to keep those copies of your genderbread person that you just created, or you can send them back to us so we can see what you created. It's up to you. We want to say thank you so much again for your participation today in today's workshop and lesson.
As a reminder, today we discussed the spectrums of gender and biological sex. We reviewed the genderbread person and what makes them up. And we created our own genderbread people.
Just remember, gender exists on a spectrum and can develop throughout a person's life. And when you see someone, you don't see their gender identity or sexual orientation slash attraction. You see their gender expression.
Before you all finish up, make sure if you have any questions, you write them down in the question box. Once you're done with that, hand it into the coordinator and they'll send it back to us.
Thank you all again, and we can't wait to see you soon.